name is Diana Kenealy. I graduated from Duke University School of Law with a JD, which is the American Law degree, and an LLM in International and Comparative Law. And I studied Public and International Affairs at Princeton University for my bachelor's before that. I moved to Cambodia for work at the ECCC. My focus is international law and human rights. And then the opportunity arose to teach at Noom, which has been wonderful. I've had a great experience. As I mentioned, I studied international and comparative law in law school. And I think the opportunity to teach that, especially in another country at a university that to me is foreign in Cambodia, was really exciting because the whole focus of comparative law is thinking about how different legal systems interact, how different countries structure their governments, and how that kind of moves down into the laws that affect day-to-day life. So I think the opportunity to join the faculty here was really exciting, both sort of for me to learn more. I think when you're teaching, you learn so much just by thinking about how to explain things, and then also what the students say. I think the students have always had such interesting insights and answers to the questions. I often think more deeply about things, and so I was really excited to have that opportunity here. I mean, I think I tended to ask for their opinions a lot. I don't know how much they liked that at first. But I think with the subject that we were teaching, with comparative law, it's a field where there are very often not clear right or wrong answers. So it's not something where sort of learning the correct thing is always possible. It's much more kind of about the analysis and about thinking clearly and about trade-offs. So my focus was hoping to get students to think about those types of issues, think about kind of their own personal views and then what the counter arguments to those are. So I tried to teach our class in a way that was more discussion based, not just me kind of lecturing the whole time, but hoping to spark some conversations and some of their own insights, and maybe encourage the students to think a little bit more critically about their legal system, the legal systems of other countries, and kind of how we've structured all of these things. I think no matter where you're working, probably being able to speak with and understand others. I think people talk about law or law school sometimes as like arguing or debate, but I think really it's a lot of discussion, especially in a classroom setting, and sort of sharing ideas and not necessarily disagreeing, but adding on or trying to think about something in a different way. So I think for students who are considering law school, thinking about all the different sides of an argument or an issue, when there are trade-offs, being able to see kind of their view and maybe some of the counterpoints to that, and while being open to the ideas of their classmates. I think both in law school and then as a practicing lawyer, there's a lot that's just sort of evaluating issues, trying to understand what is one way forward or what are possible ways forward. And I think to be able to do that effectively, being able to see kind of all sides and all angles of a problem is really helpful. I think the first step, especially leaving high school, is just thinking about what interests you, which can be hard. Like, as I think back to myself in high school, like, you don't really have professional experience yet necessarily. You've taken a bunch of different classes. I think it can be really hard to decide, like, what do I want to be when I grow up? What career do I want? And so I think an easier place to start is maybe thinking about, what do I enjoy learning? What are the types of conversations that I like to have? And for me, I was drawn to international law because I think it touched on so many different issues. And as you're studying, you can understand a lot more about what career you might want to pursue or what areas are really interesting to you, and kind of keep changing your mind. I think with international law, there are obviously the traditional legal components, but also policy angles, economics, there's international development, human rights, labor rights. So if any of those things are things that you're seeing in your day-to-day life that you find interesting, that you'd want to learn about more, I think considering a legal career could be a really good fit. And then also something that you can kind of expand on as you keep taking classes or doing internships to narrow your focus a little bit more over time.